sinners, and saints. Dust off those horns and halos. It's time for Allen After Dark.
I'll just say that the day started out with me saying something like this. Oh, fuck, 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 fuck. And we sort of went downhill from there. I get so frustrated, and I wonder if you all are too, when this happens. I'm sure you are, but you ever think that maybe there's some sort of little task around the house that you could do yourself if you had the proper instructions, and you go on YouTube to find videos for do-it-yourself and watch them, thinking that you can actually make this repair, do this task yourself, and they make it look so easy. And after watching the video 15 times, you realize that your task doesn't match what they're showing you, and you can't find anything that corresponds with what you have. And it's like everything that you need to fix is 10 times more complicated than anything they're showing you. And you finally just give up and say, I guess I never was meant to be a do-it-yourselfer, and the smart thing to do is to contact a repairman or a plumber or whoever and get the job done right, even if it costs you money. But anyway, how you all doing? Sinners, saints, bitches, whores, sluts, skanks, ass munchers, mango eaters. How we feeling? Are we doing good? Are we feeling well? Are we feeling sexy? Are we feeling pussy? Are we feeling anything other than just absolute animosity toward the fucking world? Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's not just me, but I'm going to be the one that expresses it. Holla. Y'all remember a couple of weeks ago, I was talking about how it seems like when you are dating someone or you make a decision not to date at all, that all of a sudden men come just out of every corner wanting to get up in your business and hook up with you and date and everything. It's always like a drought or the fucking rainy season in the tropics. Seriously? Well, I have to adjust my thinking on that. I mentioned that there were two guys that I would consider dating, becoming a boyfriend. Well, I can't be upset or anything negative, really. I can be disappointed, but one of the two told me that he was seeing someone else. And that's great. That's great. I just kind of liked him. Aww. But it's okay. It's okay. You can't always get what you want, especially when you're not so sure that you want it. And that's the thing about us too, isn't it? Like, we may not have wanted it when the person's pursuing us, but then when they start paying attention to someone else, we suddenly become jealous because deep down we appreciated the attention, didn't we? And when I say we, I mean me. Y'all know that about me, right? Jesus, surely by now. I hope so. And of course, we are in the beginning of the Christmas season. And also, Happy Night of the Krampus. That's tonight, right? I believe so. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it is. And I prefer Krampusnacht over Christmas any day. So I'll be celebrating more of that, because the notion of this 7 to 9 foot tall creature with horns and a big old tongue and possibly a tail with hooves dragging off mean kids in a sack, that sort of appeals to me. I just can't get into this season. You all know that I have the one big party, Mama Jean's Christmas party, which is a toy drive. We collect toys to give to those children in need so they have a decent Christmas, and I think that's just the best. Always the holidays are better when you're a kid. And I remember being a poor kid from the South. We always had a set time to decorate the Christmas tree, and it was usually the first Friday in December. And all day at school, I'd be so excited because that night we get to decorate the Christmas tree. And let's be honest about it, meaning me being honest about it. When you're poor like we were, our house wasn't the prettiest house. It was shabby in a lot of ways, but it protected us. It did its job. And Christmas time with the decorations and things, those lights that twinkle and glow, they make everything look a little bit prettier. And it was a way to disguise our poverty. At least that's the way I felt as far as the way I looked at it. And we always had good Christmases. We always got wonderful toys, and it was always a joyous time. And we were connected to a church then. And even the little country church that we went to, it was wonderful at Christmas time. The church was beautifully decorated, and we had our Christmas play. No, it wasn't something spectacular, but it was perfect for what it was. And I think growing up in that environment, and especially when you are poor and you don't get toys and things all year long, it made it more special seeing those gifts, those presents under the tree, Christmas Eve night and Christmas morning. It made it feel even more special, especially if you didn't get things like socks and underwear. Oh, those would be horrible gifts, because you wanted to be like everybody else that you knew in town. And there were families that were wealthy, and those kids, some of them my classmates, they got everything that they ever wanted, and there was never a fear of going hungry or being second best to anyone. They had the best clothes, they had the best of everything. But I think a lot of times they sort of missed out on the gratitude we felt to have these toys that we only got on Christmas. They were something that you valued until the next Christmas at least, because you weren't going to get toys all year long. And I'll confess, I never believed in Santa Claus. Ever. But I went along with it for years. I remember my mom's two younger sisters, they were spending the holidays with us, and they always went through the function of a noise on the roof and like, oh my God, Santa Claus is here. And we hid in the bathroom, and we never challenged the reason why my dad wasn't in the bathroom with us. They really thought they were fooling us. But this one time, my aunt was tapping her fingers on the wall as we were hiding in the bathroom, and I could see her tapping her fingers, and she was saying, listen to the deer on the roof. And I'm just like, what the hell ever. Now, I don't know if my brother believed ever, but I never did. I knew it was not possible. And I also saw sometimes the toys that my parents were hiding in their bedroom. And this may be something that's kind of weird now, I don't know. But the retail stores like Kmart and TG&Y, they had something called layaway, where you would pick your things you wanted. You would go to this window in the back, and you paid like a little down payment on the total of all the stuff you had. And they kept the stuff, the toys, whatever, until you paid it off. You paid a little bit every week, and then once you paid it off, you got the stuff. Well, us being poor, that's the way my mom and dad got our toys. And so I knew what they were doing. They had something in layaway, and it was going to be something for us for Christmas. I mean, sometimes they would buy things in July and pay those installments all the way until Christmas time. But when you're a kid, everything just seems magical, and you don't want to disturb that feeling. You want it to last as long as it can. Those were the simple things that made life better. It wasn't the greatest house. Like I said, it was shabby, but it was warm, and we all had a warm bed to sleep in, and we always had something to eat. And you don't have as many worries, at least you don't think you do, when you're a kid. You get to be a kid in most cases. Now, I know that my parents probably worried all the time, but there were little things that you got to experience back then that I don't think anyone does anymore. Perhaps they do. But when you would have snow, a decent snowfall, my dad would make snow cream, literally taking the snow and mixing it with sugar and vanilla. And you had a wonderful little ice cream treat that you could only get when you had snow. Now, even back in those days, you weren't supposed to eat the first snow. You were supposed to wait to the second snow, because the first snow got all the pollutants out of the air. Yeah, we actually believed that. We did. But oh my God, it was such a wonderful treat to have snow cream. And we only used to get you get 2 or 3 snows maybe a season in Tennessee. And we get less than that now. They just happen to be more severe when they happen. But even that, the thoughts of school being closed were so exciting. You'd tune into the local weather, and they would be talking about this oncoming snowstorm, and be prepared because schools could be closed the next day. And you'd be so excited. Half the time you'd get up the next morning and have nothing on the ground. But there would be some times when you would be sitting there in the morning, not wanting to get ready for school, waiting for the closings to come across the bottom of the screen, and there your school would be. And you would just be like, yay, we're out. And then within 3 hours, you were so bored, you wished you were at school. It'd always be too cold to go outside. You would go outside for a little while, and you'd be wet, and your feet would be frozen. It would be most unpleasant. And even in elementary school, we had a Christmas tree in every room. And sometimes we would exchange presents. You would draw names and things like that. And we probably shouldn't have done that because there were so many kids that were much poorer than I was. And I remember one year when we had a drawing and the person put their name in to get a gift and drew a name, but they didn't bring a gift. The person that they drew the name of didn't get a present. I do remember, though, our teacher running down to the closest store and finding a little something to give as a gift. And the person that got my name that year was the wealthiest kid in our class. So I got a great present. It was some sort of board game that was just so impressive and just like, wow, something amazing. I think there's a lot of, in this world, a lot of people want to pretend that people really aren't poor, that at least you could buy a little something for a gift. But the girl who did that, they had nothing. So she was just happy to get a gift, and she was willing to take the risk of being ostracized for not buying a gift while getting one, even though there's no way to know who was the person that should have bought the gift. But I remember that happening once at church as well, where a person didn't get a gift and it was a name drawing thing. I don't know, that just puts pressure on people, especially those that can't afford it. Now I'm repulsed by all that. It just feels like obligation to me. I don't like it, don't want to hear about it, don't care about it, nothing. I don't want gifts. I don't want any of that. I have everything I need. All I hope for is good health, good times, and survival. That's it. I don't really need anything. There's nothing that anybody could get me that pleases me. Oh, well, let me take that back right quick. Let me take that back. If you get me Henry Cavill naked in my bed, then you have made me very happy. That would be something I'd want. Can y'all do that? Of course you can't, you bitches. I know better. We all know better than that, don't we? I can dream, though, right? Yeah. A lot of my older friends that I have, they still like exchanging gifts and giving gifts. And I know it's just that tradition. It's what we grew up with. And that's wonderful. I just feel like that's not me. And I know that a lot of people feel very lonely this time of year. I don't know, did I talk about it on the podcast? Well, if I did, I'm saying it again. That, people, I'm sure, think of me as having a pathetic life, that, oh my God, he goes to the bar so many times a week. But I want to go to the bar. I want to go to happy hour. I want to have fun and have conversations and drink. That's the spirit of joy that I have. I enjoy that time. I'm not sitting there crying in my drink. I'm not whining about everything. I don't feel lonely. In fact, I feel quite the opposite. And I take pleasure and comfort in my time at the bar. I know everyone who works there, and I'm friends with most of them. They're all like family to me in the way that I look at family. And I have friends that come in every week as well, and we have a great time. That, to me, is the spirit of Christmas, and I will enjoy it when we have Mama Jean's Christmas party. That is the best party of the year. It's my favorite, and I really love that time spent with people that you don't see all year long, but you'll see them at this party. And that is a wonderful definition of Christmas, in my opinion. It's the way I view Christmas as a special time, even though it's going to be December 7th. I think as a society, we're too hung up on our traditions being unbendable. Does that make sense? These are the steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how we do it. Always do it. It can't change ever. And I think we should be flexible. Because why not consider the whole month Christmas? Why not consider the 7th, the 9th, the 12th, the 13th, whatever day, your version of Christmas? Why does it have to be December 25th? I mean, I know that tradition says that, and the calendar says that, but it doesn't mean that we have to abide by it. And we don't. To me, this weekend is my Christmas, and I will go through the motions on the 24th and the 25th, but it's not the same for me. And I think it's not the same for a lot of people. And I do think that people feel alone and isolated because society, in a way, makes us feel like we're alone and isolated if we don't have a big family and a place to go to. I don't know why they don't tell the truth about that there is as much conflict in these family gatherings as there could be feeling alone. Because I've told all of you over and over that the most alone I've felt is in a group of people, and primarily during Christmas back home. All the other family members have their husbands, their wives, their children, and there I sit by myself at the end of the couch. Now, granted, I am the most beloved uncle, so I have 2 or 3 kids hovering over me all the time. But you all get what I mean. You understand where I'm going with that, because our own traditions seem to be calculated to make people who are single feel even worse about being single and by themselves. But us single people with no children, we don't have to worry about the Krampus, do we? Because the Krampus comes after children, and we don't have them. So, nah. Put that in your chimney and smoke it. There are always people that complain about having to get a certain person a gift and they don't know what to get them, and having to cook this or that for a meal, for Christmas dinner or Christmas Eve appetizers. But those people, if they did not have something to complain about, they would be most unhappy. There are so many people in the South that love complaining. They live for it because when they complain, they're telling other people that, oh, I have places I have to go and I have to do things, prepare food, bring a gift, all these things. It makes their life seem more important. And when you complain about it, it makes you appear to be like aloof, not really into it, like you're above it all and should not have to deal with so many obligations because you're so popular, right? Yeah. But in thinking about this, I actually feel a little bit guilty too. When I first started coming out to the clubs, I was part of a forming circle of friends, and we've become really close. I remember one Christmas and it was me pushing it, that we were going to exchange gifts before going out to the club. And we did that, but one of our friends couldn't afford gifts, and he sat there feeling so guilty, and he had tears in his eyes. And I just told him, you don't need to worry about things like that. I gave everyone a gift because I wanted to. I don't expect anything in return. I do know that that was the last time we did that because it really hurt someone who could not match what we had done, even though none of us expected that. I guess what I'm saying is that we didn't take that into consideration when we did it. And so I really feel bad now that that happened. Come to think of it, he had car trouble that night too. That was a rough patch for him. He's had a rough life, but we won't go into all that. Oh, I won't say that we're friends now, but we are Facebook acquaintances. But back then, I loved him. I did. I was in love with him. And it just did not work out that way because I was not the type of person he would ever date. But we were very close friends. And I do miss that. And I do think for me, as I've said repeatedly, friendship is a vital part of my life, my friends. So I guess even me saying that I don't mind being by myself, I've never considered myself being alone. I guess I really am being a little bit of a hypocrite there, aren't I? Because I have the security of having friends that I can hang out with, that I could call up and say, hey, you want to just swing by the mall and hang out or go out to eat or go grab a drink? And some of them would say, yeah. But because it's just us chilling out and having a good time. There's no other obligation there. It's not like a marriage or anything. It's like not being tied down to someone. Not that if you're married that you're tied down. You don't necessarily have a ball and chain. You might, but if you do, break those chains and fly. That's what I have to say. I know that movies and television pretty much always, when it's a Christmas episode and they're trying to send a message, isn't it almost always an older man who is single that they try to bring into the fold because they feel bad for him, they feel sorry for him? Yeah, some of the writers can take that and shove it up their ass. But it would be very sad and lonely to not have anyone, to have no friends or anything, except for the couple of people that I know that they live for that. Is that why you become a cat lady? Or maybe a dog lady? And when I say lady, I mean anybody. That your pets become your family? I see nothing wrong with that either. A dog or a cat is going to be much more faithful and loyal than anybody. Much more loyal than any man would. You know what? Let's do a shot. Let me grab a shot. Hang on here a minute. You all grab yourself a shot too. Let's do this. Are y'all ready? Okay. Here's to you. Here's to me. Fuck you. Fuck me. Sideways with Henry Cavill. And Happy Krampus. Or do I say Merry Krampus? Or is it Krampusnacht? Either way, you know what I mean. Happy Night of the Krampus. Oh, hello. Jesus Christ. Sorry about that. Jesus. Oh, that was good. And just think, we've only got like 3 more weeks until the actual Christmas day that tradition says it is, right? Something like that. Fuck it. Whatever. Oh, God. Okay. I don't know why I'm laughing there. Just go with it. The shot went right to my beaver and to my kidneys and to my liver. Oh, but it did warm the cockles of my heart. I just said cockles. That includes the word cock. Henry, are you out there listening? Come and get me. It is shocking how quickly time passes by when we're having so much fun. And I know this was a bit of a morbid episode, maybe even a bitter episode, but I think we've all had some fun. We did a shot together, didn't we? That was awesome. And I hope that we can continue this wonderful bonding sessions each week through the horrors of this Christmas holiday. And no matter what, always take life by the balls and be real. We'll see you soon.